Hi, everyone. I'm Erica. I'm the founder of Healthy Wellness, and I'm a registered nurse, an integrated health coach, an NLP therapist, a Reiki practitioner, and aromatherapy specialist. And I use all my medical certifications and degrees to work one on one with clients who are looking for support in things like weight loss, chronic conditions, sleep, hormone imbalances, and so much more. And I am so excited to be here today to talk about the immune system with my friend Tina. Tina is the founder and the driving force behind Simply Green and Healthy Homes. As a healthy home specialist, she educates individuals and families on the benefits of creating non toxic homes and environments by suggesting the use of plant based, non toxic consumer products in their daily lives. With this deep commitment to creating healthier homes and more sustainable future, she offers easy to understand solutions that are affordable and create safe and healthy living spaces for all families. So, thank you so much for being here, Tina. I'm so excited. I know both of our work is always trying to get to people to have more healthier lifestyles. And so it takes us both.
Yes. Well, thank you for inviting me. I would just like to add that I have some credentials myself.
Oh,
I'm an
yes, please
heiress,
do.
which means I'm married. I've been for 30, almost 39 years. And at the end of my name is MOM, mom. And within that, those two beginnings and endings, I am Tina. And I just love the information and the science behind living a healthy lifestyle. And I guess my point is you don't need you do need to have certifications, but if you're just curious and you want to live a healthy lifestyle, every day can be a learning opportunity to create a healthy life for yourself and for your family. And that's what I love about what I do, because I'm continuously learning and researching and reading articles and meeting amazing women like Erica here to share my question, well, to share my knowledge and also to ask questions because she's an expert in areas that I am not. So I am so happy to be here to share both of our wisdoms with everyone who's watching.
Yes, very excited for you. And yes, of course, I think that's why we are friends. We both are such avid learners, and I think you can never not be learning in this type of field. So, so excited to get this conversation started since, it is cold and flu season. We are sort of in the middle of what winter season is. It just snowed today. So
Mhm.
we are very much in the heart of it. And so, what we can do for ourselves to make sure that we don't get light up in bed for several days is to help our immune system and to boost it in these more natural ways. And there's a lot that we can do. Um, and sort of setting the stage for what this conversation is going to be about is obviously our immune system and how it works. So I'm just going to do a really, really brief overview of our immune system. And then I would love to jump right in to get this conversation started. Um, so the immune system is actually composed of two different parts. It is the innate and the adaptive immune system. So the innate immune system is a non-specific protection from by several different mechanics. So that is the physical barrier, like the skin. It is mucous membranes. It is our chemical barriers, like enzymes and proteins. And it includes things like granulocytes, macrophages, and natural killer cells. You don't need to remember that, but essentially it is the non-specific way that we protect ourselves against these pathogens or diseases. While the adaptive immune system actually are those memory cells. So those are the antibodies that are there to fight against infections that our body has seen before. So those are our B and T lymphocytes. Again, don't need to remember that, but the real basics is the innate is non-specific defense mechanisms, and the adaptive is very specific defense mechanisms. So with that, I would like to first start the conversation in sort of the innate part. So talking more about the skin and that physical barrier. And Tina, I would love for you to talk a little bit about why that skin is so important when it comes to supporting a healthy immune system.
Oh my goodness. It is so important because it is the first line of defense from our internal environment and the external environment. So having a healthy skin is so important. And really just washing your hands with soap and water, keeping your hands away from your nose, from, putting your hands in your mouth, and those are the normal things that have kept us healthy for a millennium. Um,
Yes.
isn't that the truth? And so, just one thing about our skin, it is like 98. It's warm, and just the fact that our skin is 98.6, just the regular temperature, it automatically kills 99% of any bacteria, virus, germ that that gets on our hands.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that. And when I was young with my children, I put, hand sanitizers on them, and constantly, trying to, keep them away from dirt, and you know, all that kind of stuff. But it wasn't necessary. So just knowing that your skin has a certain temperature that kills a lot of the viruses and bacteria was like an aha moment for me. It's like, you know,
Yes. My parents always used to say, what is it? The dirt doesn't hurt.
that is
I
so
think I ate a
true.
couple of rocks as a kid and they're like, it's fine.
Exactly. And so keeping it healthy by keeping it moist, is really important. So what, and our feet, I wanted to add that our feet is a big absorber. And with that being said, it's important, and this kind of goes, and I'm going to skip over the little bit, like how do you clean your home is important, not to use harsh chemicals, especially if you walk barefooted and if you have babies and they crawl, and even little animals. A lot of harsh chemicals can be absorbed through their feet. Now,
Hmm.
that is a new aha moment for me that I learned like in the last 4 years.
Yeah. As in aromatherapy, when I ever talk to clients and I'm trying to suggest sort of like oils and things that would be good for them, I always tell them that their feet, especially that like part of your skin, is such an easy absorber. So like
Mhm,
putting stuff on the bottom of your feet with socks on and that kind of thing can really, anything that you put there really absorbs back into the body so easily.
mhm.
Um, and as you said, the hand washing. I don't know if you've ever seen this video, but I saw it the other day. It's like how to teach kids about hand washing. And it was this mom who put like a basin of a bunch of dirt and then put a drop of soap in, and you see the dirt kind of like fall to the wayside of the basin. And I'm like, that's a really cool way that you can teach kids about why soap matters and why it's important to wash your hands. And again, washing your hands is so easy and it's not as harsh as it is sometimes to use hand sanitizer over and over again.
Right, right. And I like to add to that, some of the harsher hand sanitizers that have bleach in them, and these other, they actually can create small little sliver cuts in your hands. And so if you're, and
Hmm.
it's very drying. So, if it, so that is a very easy way for bacteria to get into your system, is through cuts. And that's where infections, happen. Some dirt, something gets into a cut. But just think of your hands, just all these small little sliver razor openings, and you're constantly using hand sanitizers, that doesn't allow your skin to heal. And so that is a way that a lot of bacteria and viruses can get into your system, and it goes
Yes.
directly to your blood.
Hmm.
Whatever you put on your skin, whatever your skin breathes, it takes less than 23 seconds for it to get into your blood system, because there are no filters in your skin cells. Not, as opposed to, we're going to talk about the gut. When you eat things, it goes into the gut and it filters out the good stuff as nutrients and gets into your blood system. It goes through, your stomach and all the other internal organs. And then what
Yeah.
isn't used, gets discharged out later on. But our skins don't have that. So it's so important to keep your hands healthy.
Yes. No, totally. I totally agree. Couldn't agree more about it. And kind of that's a great transition into the gut because I think the gut is such a huge role. And as you said, that there is this barrier in your gut that is a mucous membrane that essentially is there purposely to keep, our or toxins out from the gut stream. So if there's, a lot of people talk about leaky gut and dysbiosis in our line of work, it's probably one of the number one things that I hear from clients. And that technically, that is really just when your lining of your cells in your gut are a little bit weaker. So things are now getting through that normally wouldn't get through. And so that's where you can see some of these pathogens and these, symptoms like constipation, diarrhea, bloating, generally malaise and not feeling well. So that all is related to your immune system because that lining is the communication between the immune system cells and our gut, which is pretty incredible when you think about it.
Mhm. It is, and I'm just thinking how our outside skin, I was just describing how you can have those very minuscule little continue little cuts. Is the same with our gut lining.
Hmm.
If it's weakened and all these little cuts are in your gut lining, then that's when stuff gets stuck in there and starts to fester and
Hmm.
you know everything's connected.
Yeah, everything is always totally connected. That is the beauty, I guess, and some people might find it to be the curse of of the human body. It is we are just one big connective system, and you kind of need to play with it to really find a balance because each day you might need to recalibrate to find that balance. And I think the coolest thing that I came across an article with the other day is that actually 70 to 80% of our immune cells are actually produced in the gut. So we talk about gut being our second brain. It's not only our second brain, but also a big part of our immune system. So kind of going around about that, I know most people probably won't know this, but since Tina and I have been chatting a lot, she actually lives on a farm and she's created her own sort of crops and has chickens and things. So I would love to hear a little bit about Tina, how when you're supporting a healthy immune system, how you look at things that around your farm like pesticides or anything like chemicals or anything like that, and how you've navigated that trying to do your own farming.
Oh, thank you for that. Being a homesteader and living on a farm has been a journey, and it's been one that I am so happy um, to have been able to live on a farm. But it really started back in when I was young and a new mom. Living in San Jose, California, we always had the organic garden, and I even had chickens. Even living in suburbia, I had chickens then. And we all know that pesticides and herbicides are poisons. I recently learned that CIDE in Latin means kill. So anything that
Hmm.
has CIDE at the end of it, pesticides, herbicides, that means it's going to kill something. And usually it means it's going to kill a bacteria or a virus or a germ. And those are all living amoebas. Again, they breathe and they grow and they multiply. And so the bad ones, when they get into a garden, yeah, you are supposed to kill them so that you have viable food to eat. But the disadvantage of that is when you have children around or other animals, they could be exposed to it. So I've always been an organic farmer, gardener, homesteader, even in my own backyard in San Jose, because I wanted my children to go out and go pick lettuce for
Hmm.
tonight's dinner. Go pick tomatoes. Go pick the cucumber so we can make a salad. Now, did I ever get tomatoes back? No, because the kids would eat them, and I would end up with this big bowl of like lettuce. I was like, okay, well, whatever. It was a good thing.
It's a
So
good thing they're eating the fruit, the vegetables.
exactly. So we always had that intention in
Yeah.
mind, and now that I live on the farm, it's the same intention, and it's all about learning how to bring in the good bugs to eat the bad bugs, and to bring in the good birds to eat the bad. So there's a whole science on that. But again, the point with the gut, it pesticides and herbicides can be absorbed into the skin of a tomato or of a strawberry,
Hmm.
just like pesticides, herbicides, the environment outside our skin can be absorbed into our skin. So again, there's that connection. So when you really look at the holisticness of what you eat and how it affects your internal environment, which is our gut, you do want to make sure that you are eating healthy.
Yep. Yeah, because it's true. Anything that you eat, it finds its way into, it nourishes your body. So the more nourished food that you eat, the better nourishment your body will have. It's kind of this cadence and this cause and effect. Now, I know that not everyone can obviously purchase organic, and not everyone. I mean, my dream one day is to have a farm. We're not quite there yet. New York City hasn't allowed it yet, but one day I will have a farm, and I'll be calling Tina to ask her how to create a biodynamic farm. But until then, obviously, going to the grocery store, going to farm stands is something that I do, and I know most people do as well, and try to do organic where we can, but obviously not being able to always have that option. So, Tina, I'm curious from your point of view, how have you navigated that with some of the individuals that you've met with, creating that non-toxic way to sort of remove those pesticides? Do you have any advice for anyone?
Oh, yes, and thank you for that. So my specialty is how to create a healthier home to live in and breathe in. As a consumer, we choose what products to purchase, and we choose to purchase organic foods. We choose to purchase cleaning products, personal care products. We choose to purchase vitamins and supplements. So we make all these choices, and the and so that's our power.
Hmm.
If it now in your home, we're in it like 70% of the time now. Winter a little bit more, summers a little bit less. But again, whatever we breathe and put on our skin really affects our immune system. So my question is, what is it about your personal health or what you'd like to improve in your home that you'd like to start with? Because we can make a decision and we can go out and purchase those products and slowly switch out our current brands. A lot of moms, women, they tend to start with their cleaning products because, first off, they're the most poisonous in
Hmm.
our whole home, other than pesticides, if fertilizers and stuff. And usually those are out in the garage. Um, and so that's the easiest place to start. Our bodies have a voice, and it speaks very loudly when it gets close to something it doesn't like. For example, sneezing. Have you ever gone down the aisle at the grocery store where the detergents are, and you start sneezing? Well, that's just telling your body's telling you, I don't like this aisle. It's
Hmm.
irritating to me. And so that's one example. So the best thing to do is be to use or find some plant-based, more natural laundry detergent. If you have a rash, that's another area that your body is saying, I don't like that. Whatever
Of course.
synthetic thing you're putting on my body, it I don't like it. So that's why it's going to, react in a rash. So if you really listen to your body and recognize what it likes and what it doesn't like, then you're on your way to creating a healthier home to live in and breathe in.
Correct. And I think something that I always tell clients, because again, I think both things are connected from, because as we said, everything that you eat and how you're living will all affect your immune system, and your immune system is inflammation. So if your immune system is working really hard, usually that's people who feel very inflamed all the time or feel like there is lymphatic, almost like swelling. Like I get a lot of patients that are or clients that are like, sometimes I just wake up and my face feels so. I'm like, well, it's probably you need to move that lymph around because it can't do it themselves, which means that something is bugging you possibly, or you might be coming down with a cold or whatever it might be, could be contributing to it. But I think something along the lines of making sure that we can get the cleanest products or the cleanest even fruits and vegetables, kind of going back to that. Something I do tell clients a lot is if you can't get, a organic apple, the best other option you can do is soak it in, baking soda. I mean, I'm a huge fan of
Mm.
baking soda and vinegar and with water, and sort of try at your best to get that waxy layer off. And life isn't perfect, and we don't always have the most access to what we want, or whether it's financial reasons or where we live. But using those like little techniques like baking soda, water, and vinegar to try and reduce the amount of pesticides that we are consuming, I think is
Mhm.
a great way to sort of combat that want and the desire for organics and maybe just not the availability of something like that.
Yeah. And you can slowly again make these changes. And so
Yeah.
you are so right. So there are natural disinfectants that don't have bleach in it or harsh chemicals. There are plant-based fruit washers. You know, you can
Yes.
make your own. But now there are ones that are in the marketplace. There are a lot of plant-based options that are available that aren't expensive. I think when people think they want to, to go green in your home and is like you have to go to Whole Foods and buy everything there. It's like, well, I can't afford whole paycheck. Most people can't. So you can make your own, but there's also a lot of other products out there. But you have to take time. You have to do the research. And so, um, in what Erica was saying about our bodies, it's an amazing machine, and it works really hard every single day to make it healthy. And what ends up happening is if you don't make these simple changes, then your body becomes tired. Your immune system becomes, I call it pooped out. It gets pooped out. It gets tired because you're not sleeping enough. You're not exercising enough. You're not giving it the energy, the right um, gas, for the engine,
Hmm.
and that's when you become susceptible to being sick more often than if your immune system was strong. Autoimmune issues, and other diseases that are really based on whether or not your immune system is as strong as it could be.
Correct. Yeah. And sort of, I think we bringing up sleep and our gut and sleep in our brain, as we said, everything is sort of connected. And to kind of like hit on that, there's so much research out there that shows something as simple as getting enough sleep will directly affect your immune system and directly affect the way that it performs each day. So essentially, if you do not get enough sleep, what ends up happening in your body is that your cortisol levels will sort of increase. And when your cortisol increases, your immune response goes down. They're this inverse relationship. So even if, you're another example of like cortisol spiking is if you're at a meeting and you're getting really anxious or your body doesn't know if it's a bear like it used to, or it's just an email from a boss that you're upset about. And so your body will react the same. So the more stress that you put on it, the worse that your immune system will appear, and then that will cause you to be able to be susceptible to all these other diseases and pathogens and chronic conditions and the array of stuff. So sleep is a very important first step that I always talk to clients about. I'm like, how are you getting enough sleep? Because sleep is sort of also when we repair. So like if your body isn't sleeping, it won't be able to repair all the damaged cells that are happening from trying to clean out all these pathogens or all of these toxicity that we see throughout the day. Living in New York City, smog and things like that, I know my immune system works a little bit harder, so I take steps to make sure that I can support it in the way, so that it can clear out some of that stuff. And the other important thing that you talked about is exercise. There is also that inverse relationship to exercise and cortisol, because when you exercise, your cortisol decreases and also your dopamine, your happiness hormone, sort of like increases, and it creates this um, better effect for your body. And it actually, I was reading an article when we were saying that we wanted to talk about the immune system, and I found it very fascinating that as we increase in our movement and exercise, and when I say exercise, it could be walking for 20 minutes or cleaning your house, honestly, or walk or playing with your kids. It helps us recirculate our immunoglobulins and our anti-inflammatory cytokines and our killer T cells. So it helps our immune system circulate itself better when we are doing this movement. And so sleep and movement, as you said, everything is sort of connected, goes along with our gut, goes along with how we are processing out all these pathogens. So it's, to me, it's just like such a mind-blowing, incredible, as you put it, machine. And it's amazing that there are ways that we can actually support it.
Mhm. And that is so true. Because I always knew, being an athlete, and it's like we need sleep.
Hmm.
But it wasn't until I understood why we need sleep And as to what you just said, our bodies need the time to internalize all the energy to detox the body from all the damage that we've done to it during the day.
Hmm.
And when it comes to exercise, exercising is the natural way to detox your body.
Yep.
Because what do we do in the morning after we've had a long night's sleep? We go to the restroom, for lack of a better way of explaining it. So that is how our body gets rid of that first detox. When you
Yeah.
exercise, our we sweat. That's another very organic, natural way to detox the body. When we breathe out, is another way that we detox our body. Because dating myself, I remember watching Jack LaLanne, Black and White. You breathe in the good air, you exhale the bad air. You know,
Yeah.
so just under when we cry, that's a way to detox. You get wind, a lot of wind, and you get dust particle in your eye. You cry. That's the way our body, your eyes are detoxing that un, uninvited particle.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you also your lymph, that's how you move it. As I said, your lymph doesn't naturally move, but if you move your body, your lymph system will
Yes.
move.
Yes.
It's
Mhm. So that's, the natural detoxing.
yeah,
Thank you
yeah,
for
no,
letting
and
me
I think
share that.
I think it's super important because you need both. You need both. You need just buying stuff for your home and not doing all these other things won't necessarily give you the right effect, but just doing you kind of have to do everything in tandem to the
Mhm.
best that you can and create these like little moments, as I said, of change to get you to where you want to be and to live that most healthy desired life.
Mhm.
But you need both.
Yes, you do. And that's when I opened up by saying it's a journey. You just need to
Yeah.
commit to little new changes every single day, and you will become healthier, you become happier. Um, and then your curiosity, is increased because, okay, now what can I do?
Yeah. It's a addictive personality sometimes. It
Totally.
creates so much dopamine that you're like, I need more, I need more, I need more, but it's a healthy way of
Mhm.
creating an addictive habit.
Yes. Yes.
And I know we're sort of at time, and thank you so much again for letting us chat today. But I think one point that we both wanted to make sure that our audience also walks away from is that while there are all of these natural ways to, clean your home, to avoid toxins, there's always a place for antibiotics and antibacterials because at the
Mhm.
end of the day, sometimes with the acute situations that come up, you're going to need a little bit more intervention, and that's okay. And so I think we both wanted to
Mhm.
make sure that people knew that.
Oh, absolutely. There, what I call the gray area. It's like when we're healthy, we're young, we'll live forever. And then there's this huge gray area that we can just have a healthy lifestyle. And
Hmm.
and and luckily because of the times that we're in, if something does happen, like here on the farm, if I, you know, chopping some wood and I hurt myself, I can go to the doctor and I can get stitches and I can get an antibiotic and I can be back on my farm, in probably 24 hours,
Yeah.
Unless I break a bone. So, but there is so much that we can do on our own. I always say we are our own best doctors if we listen to the voice of our body. And if we
Hmm.
get confused, then we ask questions like to Erica, to myself, to a doctor friend, a nurse friend, your mom, and then you can decide what your next steps are. And it could be going to the doctor, but that's what they're for.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the 80-20 rule that we always love to talk about. 80% of the time, but there's always like you can continue to live your most healthy lifestyle, controlling your environment inside and outside your body, your lifestyle and your mindset. But that 20% sometimes you need a little bit further intervention, and that's okay. Like
Mhm.
it is okay. Um, And I think reminding people about that, to me, is so important because I think when you, as you said, you get like wrapped up in all of this like learning and education, and you're like, drive, 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 let's do, change it out. And then you sort of also need to remember that, there are going to be times where there might be a little bit of a setback, or there might be times where you need a little bit more of an intervention that isn't, always like the most natural way. And that's okay. That's actually the beautiful part of medicine. We've
Mhm.
kind of got away from it a little bit, but that's a wholly different topic. But now we are sort of have the choice. And so you need both. Your immune system sometimes needs a little bit of help from modern medicine, and it's beautiful that we have it
Mhm.
and to have the option for it.
Exactly. Exactly. So a takeaway is for you, for me, because my expertise is healthy home, is to open up your cabinets and to see what is in there that you could substitute for healthier, safer, um, natural, eco-friendly, biodegradable, environmentally friendly. I already think I said that. There's so many words. Products in your home. If you would like to have a consultation with me, where to start, I would love to have you contact me. Um, because again, these simple changes in your home can help you breathe better. If you have asthma, if you have respiratory, someone in your family has allergies, let's start with the air in your home. And I have
Yeah.
recommendations for that. I can help.
Yeah. And Tina, just before we wrap up, how's the best way for people to get in contact with you?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. My website is simplygreenandhealthyhome.com. You can also find me here on Instagram at Simply Green and Healthy Home, and just DM me. And I would be more than happy to set up a time that's convenient for both of us to just have a chat.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for letting us chat. I always love our chats. They're always so informative for me. And I hope everyone out there listening thought it was an informative time for them as well.
How
If
can we?
you
How can somebody reach out to you?
Yeah, of course. If you want to learn more about Health E wellness health coaching, you can find me on Instagram. You can DM me. We can set up a free 15-minute consultation. I have my website located there as well. It's healthebyeerica.com, with the health E as a letter E, my name, Erica. Lovely. um, but yes, if you have any questions, please get in touch. We are both more than willing to sort of support people on this journey. You're not alone. There's always someone there to sort of help you along the way.
Absolutely.
So thank you, everyone. And